going back to the Garden where, we lost two. We got to be prepared to go for 48 minutes when we get there.
Well, Jalen Brunson's played 408 minutes this postseason, second most in the playoffs, behind only his teammate Josh Hart, and it looks like fatigue could be setting in. He is jumping about 2 inches lower on his average jumper this series than he did in the regular season. Yes, someone measures that. Plus, 3 of his 7 lowest average heights have come this series, and almost 40% of his jumpers came up short in Game 3. Hey, we're joined now by NBA vet Austin Rivers, who had a little bit of a Miss Cleo here when it came to Jalen Brunson, because you said on this very show when the Knicks went up 2-0, the series wasn't over because of fear of them getting tired. So how concerned are you about Brunson wearing down?
I'm very concerned. We talk about the longevity of the playoffs. It's brutal. And then when you add to it the usage rate of what Brunson is going through, and even his teammates, DiVincenzo and Hart, these guys are playing substantial minutes. We're talking about the whole game, and he's seeing body after body. You're seeing these guys chase him down right here. Naismith, one of the better defenders in the league. He's getting contested 2-point shots, one of the hardest shots in the game, and he makes a living off of this because he's a bad boy. But these shots, the physicality, over a period of time, playing the minutes that he's playing, I don't even know if Superman could keep up what he's been playing like. It's gotten to the point now where we expect Brunson to score 40 every game. Otherwise, something's wrong. I mean, you can see him galloping up the floor right here as he shoots a 3, and he just doesn't have the lift. So you know what happens when you don't have lift. The ball is going to end up falling short. With that being said, do I expect him to have a big game tonight? Or, I'm sorry, his bounce-back game tonight? I do. I think Brunson's a big-time player. I think tomorrow is when they play, but a big-time player. And I do feel like this team will win this series. My concern with them is they already down OG. You got Hart and these guys playing these minutes. Where do they go from here, even if they do win this series? In the next round, they got a whole fresh series against Boston. They got to find ways to use the bench. You're seeing Alex Burks and some other guys get used. They got to find other guys that can help, at least give them a couple minutes here and there.
Yeah, Brunson shooting 37% in games 3 and 4 in Indiana after shooting nearly 57% in the first 2 games at MSG. Even Superman had a kryptonite, and apparently for Jalen Brunson, it is time. Okay, so the defending champion Nuggets also, like the Pacers, bouncing back from a 2-0 series hole with a pair of road wins in Minnesota. They even things up with the Timberwolves, and then yesterday's 8-point win, it was all about Nikola Jokic leading the way with 35 points, 16 of them in the fourth quarter alone. This is the 8th best-of-7 series in NBA history where the road team has won the first 4 games. And when you look at the Nuggets offense, it was locked down in the first 2 games of the series. They were held under 100 points in both games, averaged under 90 between the two. But in games 3 and 4, their scoring increased by over 25 points a game. They did so by shooting a ridiculous 55% from the floor, and even more ridiculous 47% from 3. What adjustments did the Nuggets make to even this thing up, Austin?
Some minor ones, but they had a big impact. For one, they let Aaron Gordon bring up the ball more. You saw in the first 2 games, you saw Nickeil Alexander, Jaden McDaniels, they just harassed Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, who usually bring up the ball for them, and I think that exerted a lot of energy for them. They made a major adjustment letting Aaron bring up the ball. That way those guys can just get to their spots, and it gives them a little bit of a breather. I thought Nikola was a lot more aggressive to score and make some plays the first couple of games. I think they were thrown back by the physicality that Minnesota threw at them. But the biggest difference is this guy right here. Aaron Gordon has had a major impact on this series, and a lot of times we talk about his defensive capabilities, rightfully so. We know what he does on that side, but he's making shots right now. He's hitting the 3 ball. At one point last night, he was perfect from the field, 10 for 10. A huge game. We saw Ant talk about it after the game. He's like, I'm sick of this guy, Aaron Gordon. He's having a way in this series and a huge impact, and then you add to the fact that you have a Nikola, Jamal Murray next to him, Michael Porter Jr. This team is so deep. They have the best starting lineup in basketball, and they're back in the series with the momentum headed back their way.
You mentioned Gordon, not just one of the best playoff games one of his best games of the playoffs, really one of his career. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 times, and you were right, almost perfect. 11 for 12 is what he ended up with after Game 4. Game 5 tomorrow night back in Denver. But real quick, tonight, Thunder, Mavs. Austin, how does OKC even this thing up and get a win in Dallas?
The big three. The big three. We talk about their youth, and this is a team that we always equate to being the team of the future, and they've been adamant about them being, the team of the now. Well, for them to do that, they got to go have a big-time game on the road. To win playoff series, to get to the conference finals, to make a finals, to have these type of iconic runs, you have to be able to be a road warrior. So they're going to have to go into Dallas and get a big W. That way the momentum can come back to their side. We just saw the championship Denver Nuggets do that last night. Go on the road and get a big win. That way they go back home with momentum. And it starts with Shai Alexander. We know what he's going to do. One thing's for certain, he's going to have 30 or more. But it's those other two guys for me. It's Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. Those guys really have to have an impact and help out with the scoring. I think just with Shai, and they could give him a big boost.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren, 3 of 13 from three-point range in this series. Certainly he can get a few of those to go. Would make a big difference. Austin Rivers always making a big difference when he joins the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
More on this game ahead, too. Why you should keep an eye on a hot start for the Thunder in Game 4. Our betting expert standing by with her best bets for tonight's playoff action. To the golf. Rory McIlroy couldn't have asked for a better tune-up for this week's PGA Championship.